There's a rule in Hollywood that everyone pretends doesn't exist until it clamps down on them. Hear the wrong thing and your life turns to static. Sydney Sweeny found that out at 37,000 feet, wedged against an airplane window, when Ryan Reynolds, yes, the guy who can turn a grocery list into viral ad copy, decided a cross-Atlantic cabin was his confessional booth. He was talking to someone on his phone, voice pitched just loud enough to be smug, and dropped the line no fan had on their bingo card. The marriage has always been a contract, you know that. The words floated back like cabin air perfume, carried by recirculating vents and 100 half-listening passengers. Sydney did what any polite flyer does, kept her earbuds in and stared at the safety pamphlet, but courtesy doesn't cancel memory, and in Hollywood, memory's a power source. When wheels hit JFK tarmac at dawn on April 15th, 2025, her career and his reputation were both ticking, one about to implode, the other about to be detonated. Back on the ground, Sydney's phone flashed with champagne glass emojis from friends congratulating her on the glass chapel panel in Paris. Critics were finally calling her impossible to dismiss, and Netflix executives were counting projected streams like poker chips. Yet the victory parade lasted exactly 48 hours. A blind item blog posted a cryptic teaser. A list funny man trashes his picture-perfect marriage mid-flight. Rising actress overhears. Names were redacted, but Hollywood has the deduction skills of a true crime subreddit. By the time the sun set twice, casting spreadsheets highlighted Sydney's row number, seat letter, and potential witness status. A silent alarm tripped. First Casualty, the Netflix legal thriller that had penciled in Sydney for the lead. A polite email labeled Creative Shift arrived, stripped of punctuation like it had been drafted at gunpoint. Second Casualty, Dior's spring couture campaign featuring Sydney in iridescent silk. Restructured, the brand announced, promising the public fresh faces, while Photoshop techs erased gigabytes of her footage. Agents slid into conference rooms and whispered high discretion risk, the way one might whisper plague. Sydney wasn't accused of anything. She simply existed too close to the bullseye. 4 days later came the Glass Chapel premiere in New York, the big one, the coronation, the step and repeat gauntlet of flashbulbs. Sydney's gown waited steamed and gleaming. Her stylist blocked out 2 hours to perfect a molten metallic eye. Then the studio car arrived carrying a downgraded wristband labeled guest. That bracelet may as well have been a muzzle. Security guided her through a service entrance, past trays of lobster sliders, straight into a dim balcony seat. On the red carpet below, Ryan posed solo, grinning into the lights. Blake Lively's absence was noted by exactly no one, because a photoshopped image, provided conveniently by her team, showed her standing next to Ryan in flawless high definition. Metadata BDDD. The caption, Power Couple Rules Premiere Night. Sydney wasn't just sidelined, she was erased in real time. Sydney Sweeny is done staying silent, and Hollywood isn't ready. In an announcement already sending shockwaves across the industry, the Euphoria star revealed she's sitting down for an exclusive, no-holds-barred tell-all interview, vowing to expose the truth behind her sudden disappearance from the spotlight. I stayed quiet because I thought silence would protect me, her statement read. It didn't, it just protected them. But what exactly happened to take Sydney from Netflix's next leading lady to Hollywood's invisible woman practically overnight? It all started on April 15th, when Sydney boarded a routine flight back to New York, fresh off a career-defining weekend at the Glass Chapel panel in Paris. Critics were finally recognizing her as more than just another pretty face. Netflix execs were buzzing with praise. Even Ryan Reynolds himself was celebrating his pivot away from Deadpool's shadow. Everything was perfect, until it wasn't. Seated 2 rows ahead of Sydney, Ryan spoke loudly into his phone, unraveling the myth of his picture-perfect marriage with Blake Lively. I was never her husband, he said matter-of-factly. I was the image, a beard, there was a contract. His words, casual yet explosive, carried through the cabin without a hint of secrecy. Sydney didn't react. She didn't need to. Someone else heard it. Someone powerful enough to decide Sydney's proximity made her dangerous. And within 48 hours, her inbox went silent. No press inquiries, no callbacks. Fans noticed, whereas Sydney caught X, formerly Twitter, by storm. One meme showed Thanos snapping, with Sydney dissolving into pixels next to Ryan's smirk. Studio execs hoped the trend would fizzle. Instead, it mutated. A stylist's blink and you miss it comment, She didn't sign tricky, dropped gasoline on the fire. Suddenly numbers she didn't sign plastered every feed, referencing a rumor that Sydney refused to accept hush money tied to non-disclosure. TikTok creators spliced original trailers, Sydney center frame against new ones, Sydney gone, while haunting piano tunes looped overhead. By dawn, fan edits were outperforming official promos. The more the machine tried to silence her, the louder the algorithm screamed her name. Enter Reese Witherspoon, Hollywood's crisis alchemy queen. A grainy paparazzi shot surfaced. Reese and Sydney huddled over espresso at Beverly Hills Polo Lounge. Lips tight, brows furrowed, zero small talk. Tabloids dubbed it the Witherspoon pivot, shorthand for the move Reese perfected during her own PR minefields. Reroute the narrative, own the mess, profit from the chaos. Industry tracker sites pinged with rumors of an Apple TV Plus limited series. Courtroom intrigue, Nicole Kidman producing, Sydney starring. Nothing signed, nothing denied. The possibility alone shifted perception from toxic to resilient, and that frightened the old guard more than any leaked voicemail could. Meanwhile, Ryan's Meme Factory Instagram fell silent. Investors quietly pulled 8-figure funding from his next Marvel-adjacent passion project, citing market volatility. Translation: the Sydney fallout is sticky, and Wall Street money doesn't like sticky. RSVPs for Ryan at the Met Gala went pending. A screenshot of an alleged internal PR Zoom leaked, Ryan asking how to re-engage the audience, a rep replying, "Maybe don't monologue mid-flight." Screenshots circled the globe in an hour, each retweet pushing Sydney's halo a little brighter, and then the tremor became an earthquake. RTM, a streaming network with a taste for scorched earth interviews, announced a tell-all sit-down. Sydney on record, no NDA, dropping documents, call logs, and flight passenger affidavits. The trailer was 8 seconds long. Sydney facing the camera, eyes glassy, voice a whisper. "Silence never saved me. Maybe the truth will." 12 million views in 24 hours. Hollywood's back channels lit up like a Vegas marquee. Lawyers drafted friendly reminders about defamation. Brand managers checked contract escape clauses. A leak suggested Sydney had already declined a 7-figure hush payment labeled creative contribution compensation. Old school execs called it madness. Younger publicists called it a masterclass. In those final days before the broadcast, the narrative flipped fully. Entertainment headlines no longer read troubled starlet snubbed at premiere. They read whistleblower actress prepares receipts. Fan accounts compiled timelines cross-referencing boarding passes, casting log modifications, brand Slack messages, even metadata from Blake's doctored photo. A digital archive formed. Crowdsourced investigative journalism fueled by caffeine and righteous indignation. The studio's sleek PR machine, so effective at ghosting one actress, suddenly looked prehistoric against a hive mind armed with timestamps. The night of the interview, viewership blew past RTM's highest numbers in history. Bigger than the Royal Family special, bigger than the pop star retirement scoop. Sydney spoke for 42 straight minutes. No teleprompter, sliding notarized documents across the table like poker chips. She read a redacted email from a Netflix vice president. Remove her name, indiscretion risk. She played a voicemail from a Dior brand executive. We can't jeopardize Blake's narrative integrity. She quoted Ryan's mile-high confession verbatim, pulling a notarized statement from a flight attendant who heard the same. She didn't curse, didn't slander, she simply recited receipts. The curtain dropped on daylight-polished reputations, and the crowd watching from couches and commuter trains felt something they rarely feel for Hollywood actors: unrehearsed empathy. By sunrise, Netflix's stock wobbled 2%. Dior's hashtag turned into an apology tour. Ryan's PR team issued a 3-paragraph statement containing the immortal line, "Certain private remarks were taken out of context during in-flight fatigue. Blake's socials went offline for mental health reasons." And to Sydney, she opened her phone, watched her follower count tick up like a slot machine, then posted one sentence beneath a photo of a sunrise. Sometimes silence is expensive. In an industry obsessed with controlling stories, Sydney Sweeny learned the 2025 workaround. Tell yours first, tell it loud, and bring receipts the size of billboards. She didn't just survive the blacklist, she she turned the blackout into backlight. The moral that PR strategists now scrawl onto whiteboards is painfully simple. Erase someone at your own risk. The internet loves a comeback arc, especially one written in real time. So the next time a voice cracks open at 37,000 feet, beware. A single overheard sentence might be the match that rewrites every contract, every marriage myth, every polished premiere. Hollywood thought it could ghost Sydney Sweeney. Instead, she taught Hollywood how to haunt itself.